And we're wet. We're always wet. Ever since I first picked up a camera, I discovered a strange fascination with long exposure photography. And over the years, I've found different styles and different techniques and different ways of doing things. But one style of it that really stands out and calls to me is this. So I'm kind of hoping today's video is going to be the start of a new chapter for my photography. I've figured out how to edit and sort of take the photographs that I want. I live 10 minutes away from the Humber estuary, 20 minutes away from the North Sea coast. The tide calls to me a lot. And today, we're going to start doing some fine art photography. Let's have a look. So how does this micro four thirty camera help with the kind of photography that I like to do then? Well, if you've seen any of my content before, you'll be aware that I'm a big fan of the live ND feature. But I can also throw physical ND filters on the front as well. So I can come out in almost any shooting conditions, throw a 10-stop on, throw a polarizer on, get the shutter speed fairly slow, but then I've got an extra 7 stops built into the camera that I can play with to get my shutter speeds down to 60 seconds to really flatten out that water, put some motion in the clouds, and hopefully create some really nice looking fan art style photographs. There's a lot of editing with this. It's a bit of a chore. Hopefully we're going to achieve something quite nice today. So you'll be able to see behind me we have this rock wall. It's like a wave breaker as the high tide comes in. The waves crash against this, it sort of softens them and it protects the coastline. This makes for a fantastic subject for long exposure photographs. I've been here several times before photographing this. It's a little favourite spot of mine because I really like the little red beacon out at the end. It just adds a little bit of something to it. So the plan for this is we're going to go for a 60-second long exposure to really flatten out of the water. And it's a bit of a windy day as well, so the clouds may streak across the sky as well, which is going to add to the effects that I'm looking for. And after that, we are going to try and attempt to remove the horizon line. So that's going to be blending the sea and the sky to create something sort of looking continuous as it goes through the image. And we're just going to have the rock wall as the subject. The plan for this is essentially a black and white photograph, but I may leave some colour in the rock wall as well, just to let it pop off and just really sort of show it as the subject. Very low contrast, very low saturation in the rock wall, and maybe high contrast in the sky and the clouds. Let's take this photograph and see how it turns out. Not an absolutely perfect day for doing this kind of thing. You can see just how calm the waves are that are crashing around, so they're not leaving a lot of turbulence and a lot of funny patterns in the water, which for this kind of thing I don't like. I like it to be still and flat and just kind of fun looking. I don't like all the turbulence when I'm doing this kind of thing. There is some cloud in the sky which is going to streak across, which is going to soften things up a little bit. But all in all, it's just the kind of perfect conditions for doing this. So let's go ahead, we're going to take this first photograph now. So we're down at 60 seconds, f4.5, ISO 400. So I may actually turn that down a little bit now, the light's changed. Let's have a look. ISO 200, and we'll go f4. 60 seconds, f4, ISO 200. I have ND32 turned on in the camera. I have a 10-stop filter on the front of the camera and a polarizing filter, because these rocks are a little bit wet. I just want to take the shine off them a little bit. So let's go ahead, let's take this first photograph. So hopefully that was a nice little introduction to the kind of photography that I want to take over the next few months, and I'm hoping it turned out nicely. Now, there is a thing that I like to do when I come here, which is to stand up on top of this breaker and shoot along it, but I'm not sure if the tide's in enough to get a nice photograph. I do have a nice ultra wide angle lens which should allow me to get somewhat towards the end of it in the tide and stretch things out a little bit, but something I want to try is climb up on top and just see if we can angle down, looking down it, and do the same kind of photograph. But we'll have a lot more tide and a lot more sky in this time, so let's have a look at doing that. I don't know how I'm going to take you up there with me. It could be interesting. So I did actually manage to climb up on top of the rock wall, and it was a bit sketchy, a little bit slippery. I'm only wearing trainers, and I didn't really like where I was stood. But I did manage to get the photograph that I wanted. There is a cleaner horizon in this, which should present its own challenges in blending it out in post-processing, but the overall picture looked quite nice. There was some nice low sun catching on one side of the rock wall, so obviously I'm going to leave that in there, leave that in colour. But again, the rest of it's going to be black and white. So I hope you enjoy it, because I slipped on my bum. But here it is. So good news, I'm in charge of 2 small people today. They're the only ones that haven't gone back to school today, and they're further down the beach. So what's the betting that a teenager that is constantly with phone in hand doesn't answer a phone right now? I'm going to have to go find them. So I'm going to go for a walk down the beach, but I need to let them know as well. She's not going to answer, is she? So this is the next rock wall along this beach. It's very similar looking to the other one, but not quite as big, and you're probably able to climb on it a little bit easier than the last one. The tide's still not quite around. If I move out of the way, you can see where the tide is currently washing around, so a little bit of patience, a little bit of time is needed, but hopefully we'll show this one a little bit of love. Kind of gets forgotten about when people come to photograph this spot. Let's show it some love today. So I've moved now down to the opposite side of this breaker wall, and there's all of these big rocks and big sort of stones and boulders around here, and I thought, as the tide is washing over them, they'll create an interesting foreground, just swirling a little bit of white water around with the 60-second exposure. A little bit further out in the sea, it's going to be completely flattened out, and it's clouded up a little bit as well, so we'll get some nice streaks across the sky. I just need to figure out the perfect time to do this, because the tide is coming in, and where I'm stood right now, in a few moments' time, is going to be under the water. Let's have a look at getting this photograph taken and just see how it looks. I'm not sure about this one. I'll be honest, I'm not sure about this one. Right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take this photograph. I've still got the same filters on as I had on before. So I've got the polarizing filter, the 10-stop filter, and the 4-stop filter turned on in the camera. The tide has now really come up. It's really sort of washing around these rocks now, so I think this is probably the ideal time to take it. Before they get too covered, I still want them to be seen as rocks, but I just want a little bit of white water swirling around them, leaving a little bit of texture in the foreground. Don't want to get too wet. So, the 60 seconds, f4, ISO 200. Let's go, let's take this photograph. So I hope you can see on the camera that the waves, as they're sort of rushing out, they are leaving a little bit of white foam around me. It's just going to create some interesting patterns. I'm going to move back now. So thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope it's been a little bit of an introduction to the kind of photography that I want to lean into a little bit more over the coming months. There are plenty of subjects and plenty of locations that are local to me, so it means I don't have to go driving halfway across the country and get rained off, because it is the time of the year now where the weather changes quite a lot, and really when you're out doing photography, you just want to be out doing photography. You don't want to be out dodging storms. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give it a like and a thumbs up, because it does help to bring new viewers to see my content. And if you're new here and you like Micro Four Thirds or you like long exposure photography, well, why not drop me a subscribe down below and you'll see more of that nonsense every single week. Oh, and before we go, there is a calendar that I've made. There's going to be a link in the description. You can go and buy that if you want. It would be appreciated. It's basically a 2026 wall calendar of every photograph that I've taken that I quite liked. Well, 12 of them. 13, I suppose, including the cover, over the past 12 months. You know where I'm going with this. There's a calendar. If you want to go and buy it and support me, I would really appreciate that. So, I guess I'm just going to have to say the thing that I say at the end of the videos, which is peace and goodbye.